Hello recorders and Marvel fans, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Steven. Well, today I review The Eternals, the latest film in the MCU. Now, this film has really divided the critics. It currently has 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, the lowest ever for an MCU film. So let's talk about it. So, unlike some of these MCU casuals, I actually read the comics, so I know a little bit about the Eternals, the Celestials, and the Deviants, and I've been waiting since Guardians of the Galaxy for there to be a more bigger, cosmic expansion of the MCU side, which I feel like we're heading towards more of that territory. I mean, after everything they've done in the first three phases, I really want to see more of these films taking place more in the cosmic side instead of taking place on Earth. And because I want that to happen, that means change has to happen in the MCU, which is what this film does. It does shit different. Just watching the opening scene, yeah, you'll see something different that you haven't seen before in the MCU films. And I'll be honest, I actually thought this movie wasn't going to have the Marvel logo, but it does, of course. But hey, there's the thing about that logo. After watching a bunch of MCU stuff on Disney Plus, they need to change it by now. Change the visuals, use different clips and shit. So one of the major things they do differently is pacing and narrative. One of the things that just bother me about this film, I understand that it's trying to cover 7,000 years of history, but I sort of felt like that wasn't exactly needed for this film. It takes place in 5000 BC, and we see the Eternals arrive to Earth, face off the Deviants, blah, blah, blah. They're told not to interfere with human conflict, blah, blah, blah. So we get a little, not so much of a history lesson, but we at least see key points in history that, it kind of makes it look interesting, but some of it is just plain boring. Here's another major issue with the film. There's too many new characters, way too many new characters that the MCU casual doesn't know about. Now, don't get me wrong, I felt like all the actors playing these characters were well suited for their parts. I mean, none of them are miscast, and there's not really a bad performance from any of them. But the thing is, in this narrative, when they're trying to, get the Eternals back together, you keep, have to reintroduce the characters, give so much of this exposition. You don't really see, that doesn't really do a lot for their character development. You just see them hey, this is my life here on Earth. You don't see a lot of it, especially how some of them it takes, throughout most of the film to, rally them up together. It's I felt like they could have done that under the first hour. Now, I know a thing that people have an issue with the MCU is the humor, this one specific type of humor in these films. Some people think it's forced, some people think that not all these movies have to be funny. For this one, yeah, sure, there's some quirky humor into it, but I wasn't that bothered by it, especially in the theater. I don't think everyone laughed at every single goddamn thing. I mean, there was some good humor, and I thought it was really well done, but not too much funny, but just the right balance of comedy. Now, here's going to be kind of a spoiler. I really like it when that one character betrays the whole Eternals. I thought that was really well done. I actually praise the character for doing that. Moving on to one of my favorite things about the film is the fight choreography. I thought each Eternal had their own great display of their fighting skills and their powers. I thought the director did very well, showing that off, and that was really impressive. Along with that is the cinematography. I thought each image was really beautiful. It was really well done. It doesn't feel ucky or anything like that. And especially how in some MCU films, most of the images all look the same to each other. But this one, I think it's a really strong standout. All of this stuff for this film, it kind of paid off, but not so well. I mentioned, one of the biggest issues with the film is the pacing. I actually thought I was about to go to sleep. I kept going and heck, I had coffee as my drink. I didn't have a soda, I had coffee, and apparently that wasn't strong enough to help me endure this film. On a final note, recorders, I enjoyed the film. I don't think of it as the worst MCU film, but there are some boring shit in it that I felt like towards the end, this film did not pay off really well. And I feel is everyone going to hate this film? I know everyone's going to have their own opinion. Some are going to love it, some are going to hate it. But maybe in a few years when we look back on this film, maybe it's just going to be one of those movies where we just misunderstood it and maybe it was ahead of its time. Well, tell me what you think down below in the comments, recorders. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button, give me a like, and remember, I'm on Cameo if you like a special shout out from me, and catch you next time.